Good evening, folks, to a very special edition of the Maz and Bad Show. I'm joined, of course, as always, by Brandon Marrazzo and Anthony Cafone, and I'm Charlie Baduini. Today, not your average episode. We're not going to be talking about the news or any other boring shit that's going on this week. We're talking about the last decade of NBA Finals. This is something we talked about when the finals were going on. We were talking about where this could rank in the most recent NBA Finals because, in the last 10 years, it's been pretty hit or miss in terms of what we get. And here we are finally doing it. We're going from the 2016 Finals all the way up into the 2025 Finals. I'm really excited, guys. How are we feeling?
I want everybody to know right now that I actually was trying to coax everybody into debating DeAndre Ayton to the Lakers. That's what this whole episode should be about. Nothing else matters. I got my center for the low, baby. No, but seriously, I'm actually, fellas, going through this, I made me realize just how privileged we've been with this year's finals and a couple in the past, because some of these are, good God, terrible.
Atrocious.
It's tough to really go through because the NBA Finals we talk about. I feel like over the last decade, there's been a common thread of just one team's really dominant and the other team is kind of lucky to be there, and they just get matched up. Usually, it's a team from the West that dominates, but sometimes the East can pull off a couple of stunners, and these last 10 years have proved that.
You know, there's always a saying, like, can you get it done in the West, right? Like, that's just what it comes down to. Like, playing in the West has historically, in our time, been the much harder of the conferences. I don't think the East has ever been better than the West, except for the Jordan years, really, right? I mean, there's a debate for that, but nonetheless, it's not like the East hasn't gotten the job done every now and then. But I would say that it's an easier ride in the East most years. But if you can capitalize on that, then good for you.
All right, you ready to hop in?
Yeah, so I guess we probably should have talked about this before we started, but how do we want to do this? We want to start from 2016 and just work our way up?
I got that already labeled out here. So
Sweet.
we can start with 2016. I mean, I think I speak for
guys,
everybody
I
here.
think this is
Yeah,
I think this is pretty easy, right?
this is 10 out of 10. This is cinema.
This is peak.
That was.
Oh no.
I just want everybody to know right now that I debated making this my second one. I debated just waiting to hear Charlie's answer and then just riffed off of that, right? Because I was just ready for, like, I thought we were gonna save this one a little bit. I didn't think we were gonna start right at the bottom of the timeline. I thought we were gonna start from the bottom and work our way to the top. But here we are going chronologically, not a problem for me. But Chucky, just so you know that I am an unbiased person, that I am 110% here for what I actually believe in. And no matter how bad I hated when this happened, no matter how bad people want to say, oh, the entire series changed because Draymond got kicked out, which it did. However, Cleveland got it done. Kyrie Irving stepped up, and LeBron James had one of the greatest moments basketball has ever seen. Okay? And Andre Iguodala needs to learn how to dunk a goddamn basketball. But needless to say, this is 10 out of 10. Coming back, first time it's ever been done. Down 3-0, never happened. Cinema is the perfect adjective. Yes.
You can make the case this is the greatest finals of all time. Like, not even just in the last 10 years. Like, a 3-1 comeback. Yeah, LeBron and Kyrie combining for almost 80 points in Game 6. I think LeBron in Games 5, 6, and 7 averaged like 35, 10, and 10 on some bullshit. I mean, just peak LeBron, just cerebral, physical at the peak of his game. And then, of course, the 73-win Warriors, who were also a good time to watch before it was all ruined by the Kevin Durant signing. But yeah, this is just an easy 10 out of 10. Can't go wrong. Iconic moments. LeBron's block of Curry in Game 6. Kyrie's step back over Curry. The block, of course, as you guys mentioned, just an elite finals. And I'll be honest, this is the series that like genuinely got me into basketball. I was a casual fan before this, just kind of checking in here and there. I was a Carmelo Anthony fan, and watching this finals and watching the greatness that unfolded in front of my eyes just hooked me for life with the sport of basketball.
Charlie, this was actually the finals that almost took me away from basketball because I was like, here we go again. They're just helping them out. They're bailing them out.
Dude,
but you know what?
If maybe Draymond shouldn't have gotten all those texts in the regular season. Okay,
well,
so
I've always been a proponent of, like, what the hell does it matter if I accumulate too many texts? Like, I always thought that was stupid, but, like, nonetheless, here we are. But honestly, Kyrie Irving needs more flowers for what he did in this finals, because that shot is up there. And you want to talk about clutchness, needing it in the biggest of moments. I mean, it is the shot for me.
I think we were just so spoiled with 2016. 2016 NBA is just kind of like the peak year. I think the reason why we all are like sort of in this lull of basketball lately is because 2016, the year itself, just set the bar so high. Like, you think about it, 73-win Warriors, like you mentioned, Kobe Bryant's last season, the 60-point game on the last day of the season, that playoff run, the 3-1 comeback from the Warriors against OKC in the Western Conference Finals that year, and then LeBron and the Cavs doing the exact opposite and pulling a 3-1 comeback in that series. Everyone forgets about Game 6 of that series as well. You remember that Game 6? In Cleveland, the environment was intense. Curry throws the mouth guard and gets ejected from that game with, what was it, like 3 minutes left to go with the Warriors down by like 5 or 6. Everything in that series, not just Game 7. I think Game 7 just gets wholly put on a platform because it is one of the greatest games in NBA history. But that whole series, from Game 1 to Game 7, had so many iconic moments. It's cinema. It's 10 out of 10.
Don't forget, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, right, the year before, the Warriors just took them down, too, with all, like, the injuries, and then the Cavs came back actually healthy this year. So it's like, yo, it's a great story, man. It's just like, you know, I can't lie. I was rooting against it.
All right, so 2017 now. We move on to the next finals. This
Yeah,
was the first year with KD's
I regret to
Warriors.
inform you guys it's all downhill from here.
No, it's not all downhill. We got peaks and valleys, fellas.
Peaks and valleys.
We got peaks.
Yeah.
The only problem is that we are dipping down to a bit of a valley here. There's no peak here for
sure.
this one. However, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's alright. Maybe solid. It was solid. I'd say solid.
No,
Really
I'd go with I here. I mean, it's only reason why it's not terrible is because if I'm not mistaken, and I did this research like last week, unfortunately, so I'm not 100% read up right now, but I think Kyrie and LeBron in Game 3 back in Cleveland, they combined for a crazy like 100 points, like just in one game, and that was the one game they stole in the gentleman's sweep that was the 2017 finals. So that's one positive moment. But yeah, this is just Kevin Durant ruined the NBA for 2 years, pretty much.
I just, good for him for going to Golden State and dominating, right? But I think it is easier to dominate when you're playing with that good of talent around you. And it's like, yeah, there's going to be focus on you. But when you're playing with Steph, you're playing with Clay, you're already playing with a team that has already been to 2 finals before you even got there. And then they took you out and then come. That is just SAWFT soft for me. All right. And I'm again, a bit of a hater on this one, even though like in the historic rivalry, I am more of a Dubs over Cavs guys because I was a Kobe over LeBron guy. Like that was still lingering. But like, of course, the sun had set on that. So it's like, I'm not rooting for this guy, but I also don't want to root for the Warriors because it's like, I feel like you guys just broke basketball. So like, I had this middle of the list because I think I had the 6 because there's other ones that I hated more, but it was like, it was all right. It was all right.
LeBron averaged 33.6 points per game in those 5 games. Kyrie averaged 29.4 points per game. Kevin Love averaged 16. Like, that just goes to show you the Cavs had virtually zero depth, and they were going up against a monstrosity in what Golden State had created. Charlie, you couldn't have said it better. I think Kevin Durant did ruin basketball for a few years there. It was kind of
like, dude,
it was just not competitive. It really wasn't. Like, that team was just on a whole different level. You added one of the best stretch forwards in the entire history of basketball to a 73-win Warriors team. I mean, what else can you really say? Like, that team's destined to win 2 championships.
And what I will say is we were robbed of what would have been part 3 of the Cavs Warriors. Like, the Warriors got the first one with all the Cav injuries. Year 2, the Cavs come back down 3-1 to win it, and then this would have been the episode 3, and it would have been a climactic showdown of who's going to get the best of the 3. And yeah, it's just with Kevin Durant, it was not a contest.
Well, to be fair, right? I think you got to give the Golden State front office credit because anytime you can go out and get that kind of talent and add it to that roster, like, of course we're going to do it. We all hate on it, but if we were in that position, we all would have done the same thing, right? Second, the Cavs, you look at the money structured for how things were. Like, I blame their GM and front office for not getting more talent in there when you already you were just in the finals. You have the best player on the planet at the time in LeBron James, right? You have Kyrie Irving, who is top 3, Robins to Batman at the time, and then even a big 3 in Kevin Love, who was a former MVP vote getter with the Timberwolves, right? So it's like I blame the GM for the Cavs not doing more, because clearly at the time, if KD can make his way over to Golden State, there is definitely some financial trickery that you can play with that cap salary going on, and they should have done a better job with it instead of paying guys like Tristan Thompson.
I don't think there's any addition the Cavs could have made that would have helped them compete against the KD Warriors.
I get that, but it might have been a little closer than, being a gentleman's sweep.
I think
we're talking about the greatest team in NBA history here. I doubt it.
I think next year's the 2018 one. It's pretty much the same exact finals, but this one had more entertaining moments, I think. Even though it was more dominant, it was just funner to watch because of the J.R. Smith. What are you doing? Pulling the rebound out.
I remember this game so vividly because I was so excited. It was because this was I think the greatest LeBron James we've ever seen leading up to this series. Like being able to single-handedly drag that Cavs team that didn't have Kyrie. You had a washed-up Kevin Love, George Hill playing point guard, Tristan Thompson giving you what he could at center, and then LeBron comes out in Game 1 and has the single greatest finals performance of any player in NBA history, if you guys recall.
Mm-hmm.
Leading up to that end of the game where JR forgot the game was tied and didn't put the ball back up for even a chance to win it. Because the series trajectory changes if the Cavs steal this Game 1. LeBron breaks his wrist coming back into the locker room, punching a blackboard. And that's basically what ended the series. But I'll go back to LeBron's legendary performance. 51 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 19 of 32 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. Single-handedly the greatest finals performance of all time.
And 0-1 versus the blackboard. Come on, man. Keep your composure a little bit.
That was good.
Come on.
I will give you credit.
Dude, you're telling me you wouldn't have done the same thing?
I would have punched J.R. Smith, if I'm being honest with you. And I probably would have broke my hand on his forehead. But, that's just me, personally.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I had this one as terrible.
Do you remember the YouTubers RDC World? The group of dudes that used to be like LeBron. During this time period of basketball, these dudes made the best content on YouTube because it was all centered around the Cavs and how LeBron would just walk into the locker room and just insult everybody on the roster.
Packing their bags.
Yeah, he goes. I remember the video they dropped. They go, "JR, pack your bags, get out of here." And Tristan goes, "Hey LeBron, you can't tell him what to do. No, you're gone too." You do. I'm trying to do everything. I've done 51 points, and you're not doing anything. Kyrie. And then Kyrie's sitting there like this, the ring. Dude, that's
an all-timer.
I will say, even though this finals wasn't good, it wasn't a great competitive finals. It had moments that I think elevated it into above the 2017 finals, in my opinion.
I'm with him.
Go
ahead, Chucky. I think it's solid personally because there's so many memorable moments.
I was just going to say the only reason why it's so memorable is because of Game 1. Games 2, 3, and 4, I couldn't tell you a single thing about. But Game 1 was that legendary that it's you at least registers in your brain when you think about the previous NBA Finals.
You want to put in the same tier, solid, or
I'd put it terrible.
You think terrible?
I think terrible.
Nah. We've seen worse. There was entertainment in this worse.
I think this was more entertaining finals than 2017 though.
I promise you, I'm with Ed on this one. I think it's better. You can keep it an I, and it's a better thing. I have it higher on my list by 1 point, both of them being at I believe the 6th and 7th spot of the tier list for me. But there was not cinema, but there was some clownery going on. There was just ridiculousness. Right? And that's why I think it should be slightly above in the. It was there was some moments.
Yeah, Charlie, I think
majority rules. That's fine.
All right, well, we'll keep it an eye. All right, now go on 2019, Raptors, Warriors, Kawhi getting it done in 6. First year in Toronto, only year in Toronto. And that Raptors team was special because you look back on that team and look about all the stars they had at that point. Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, Kawhi, of course, Kyle Lowry. That team was stacked, and we just kind of forget about it. That team was awesome.
1 year mercenary rental at the end of the day, right? Like that's the problem with it. Now I have a critical question here. We're ranking finals. Does the finals run factor anywhere into this, or is it just strictly finals?
Just strictly finals.
Okay, because it's a 10 out of 10 if we're talking about a finals run and how they basically went all in on the year and this and that. But it's fourth on my list because I thought we were just going with just the finals. And I agree with that because that's what we said. It's very good. It was a very good finals, I felt like. Klay Thompson goes down. That kind of, that was but it was kind of nice to see the Dubs, Yep. It was kind of nice to see the Dubs take a step back a bit, and Kawhi elevating. So still some big moments, a dominant display coming from Marc Gasol. I mean, Boogie Cousins was having a lot of trouble with that, and I would say that Boogie was the better player out of the two of them most of the time. And I think it was a very good finals. Like, I know it was 4-2. A lot of these ended up being, 4-2, but I was actually a fan of this finals personally.
Shout out Spicy P as well, who Ant reminded me a few weeks ago was the second leading scorer for the Raptors in that series as well. Yeah, I had this ranked fourth as well, Maz. Although I still think you got to put it in the solid tier, just because of the injury stuff. I mean, like KD with the Achilles, Klay with the ACL. To me, if those injuries don't happen, the Warriors we're probably talking about they had won 3 in 4 years. But because of those injuries, for me, it's in solid.
I'll agree with you,
Chuck. You have a tiebreaker on it?
I think solid's probably a good one because I think to be able to go into the very good category, I think everything has to sort of align. Like 10 out of 10 is hard to get. I think 2016 is gonna be the only finals we get that's 10 out of 10. But I think this finals, the Raptors did luck out without KD and Klay Thompson those last couple of games there. I know KD got hurt in Game 6, the clincher, but this Raptors team showed that resiliency. They went up against this Warriors team that was looking frankly unbeatable. I think this was the year too where Draymond and KD were sort of at odds throughout that season. You didn't know if the Warriors were really going to be able to get back to that mountaintop again. So I think it was good for NBA fans to see them sort of droop down after 3 championships in 4 years from that core. And, the Raptors first-time champions from Canada. First Canadian team to win the finals. That was a cool moment as well. So I think solid is a good ranking for it.
All right, fair enough. I'm outvoted.
It kind of stinks, though, just like thinking back on it, like how I think coming off that finals, everyone was like, oh, Kawhi's going to stay. And Toronto's going to be the new powerhouse in the East for the next however many years, and it just didn't end up happening.
What if Kawhi stayed in Toronto? What do you think would have happened? Do you think they win another championship?
I don't know.
It's hard to say because how do you factor in like the injuries afterwards, right? Like, do they happen? Do they not? Like, and I just it's kind of hard. Maybe he's a little more focused because he's not at home, so he's not as comfortable, right? There's not much as to do. Maybe he's a little more focused in on basketball. And we don't know because remember that entire cycle, he was supposed to come to the Lakers, and the only thing that he said, if the Clippers can get Paul George, he would sign there. And of course, they go and make the most ridiculous trade you've ever seen, right? And it worked out more for OKC, but I don't think it's been the worst thing in the world for the Clippers, right? But there's so many things that could have happened that summer. Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to give
you traded away an MVP for a guy you got for what, 2 seasons.
Nobody knew that. Nobody ever knew that Shea was going to be that though.
I also think Kawhi he didn't want to go team up with LeBron because he would have been Robin.
Yeah,
Batman.
There was a little bit talk of being the shadow, but he wanted to go home. Right, and he said that he would have been willing to go if they don't get PG because there's no point of going there. He wants to compete. So it's like there's 2 things could have happened where it completely changes the entire history of the NBA, whether he joins the Lakers or whether he stays in Toronto, and unfortunately he ends up joining the Clippers.
All right, so Kawhi gets the Finals MVP, his second of his career, another good run for him. Then we go down to 2020. This was the bubble. This was the Lakers. This was the Heat. What?
10 out of 10 run. I just got to say that. It was a 10 out of 10 run.
For the Raptors.
It just wasn't a 10 out of 10 finals. Yeah. Yes, 10 out of 10 run.
So Lakers, Heat, 2020 bubble, no fans. This was down in Orlando. All 6 games that the Lakers were able to close out the Heat. Heat made it competitive. Jimmy was dog tired in that series, but the Lakers were able to close it out. And LeBron kind of stealing that Finals MVP from AD in those last couple of games. But we don't talk about that here. We don't talk about that. We talk about the finals. The finals itself was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It was a pretty good finals.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had the most LeBron Glazers that I'm friends with be like, oh man, they've been talking about AD a lot with his Finals MVP, and he legitimately stopped passing to him. Like he said, absolutely not. This is not hurting my legacy. Getting a chip and not getting the Finals MVP. I'm taking everything away from everybody. I deserve this. I'm going after it. I control the offense. And the worst part was they had Jay Crowder guarding him the entire time. Anthony Davis, that is. They had Jay Crowder on him a majority of the time. That should have been the matchup that they went to. But they said, no, we'll take the slightly harder route. We're still getting it done. Fellas, unbiased take here. I am a Lakers fan. This is the purest form of basketball ever played. I don't care what anybody says. This is number 3 on my list. It is very good. Jimmy Butler and them boys competed. It just was not enough. And even for them to take 2 games out of this Lakers team, that was not supposed to happen. That's nothing but pure heart, grit, and determination. This was a very good finals. I also got a ring, so call me biased. I don't give a damn. Screw it.
I besides the Jimmy moment, where he's hunched over on the scorer's table behind the basket and, just dog tired for carrying the Heat to a Game 5 victory. Besides that, I mean, what other iconic moments are there? You know what I mean? And I loved this finals because, as you guys know, I'm a big LeBron fan. I was super hyped for him to get his 4th ring. I'd put it in solid.
Where'd you have it ranked, Chucky?
5. I had it behind the Raptors Warriors.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I had it above. I mean, also I had my Lakers and I had Jimmy Butler in the finals. I mean, that's a match made in heaven for me, right? Tiebreaker once again.
I feel like I'm being thrown in these positions a lot here in this tier maker list, but I think it's very good. I think it was a very good finals compared to what we've seen over the last decade. Having an 8 seed make the finals against the Lakers team that was before that bubble. People forget that Lakers team struggled. They were scuffling there between November, December, and January, and then once the bubble hit, they had a couple months off. They got refreshed. AD, LeBron got back healthy legs, and they made a great run. And they kind of looked unstoppable throughout that Western Conference run. And then
were they not the number 1 seed in the West?
Yeah, I think no, because they closed out in the bubble. I think didn't they go 12-1 in the regular season to close it out to get that 1 seed in the bubble?
So here's what everybody forgets, right? The Heat were a 5th seed that year, I believe, and
no, they were
the Lakers. Although we're on top, Anthony Davis has gotten hurt right before playoffs, and without the 2-month break, he probably doesn't play or have that much of a factor into the playoffs. We literally needed the break to happen. And everybody always says, oh, if the break didn't happen, this and that. I was like, yes, but to be fair, everybody got the break. So it's not like we just got it, But yeah, without the break, Anthony Davis is not around. He was banged up heavily. So, and that's the toll of a guy that's, let's be honest, kind of fragile, playing high minutes, and you're fighting to get that number 1 seed. Those things are going to happen. But yeah, thank God for the 2-month break. Otherwise, we would be nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
and also the first and only NBA Finals to be played in October. So that's pretty cool.
What a weird time.
It was
a weird time.
COVID, it seems like it was so long ago now because it's been, 5 years? But, really was you forget how weird of a time it was. Just no sports for a couple months there. We were just kind of sitting at home. Me and Charlie, you were graduating from high school by that point. I was in high school my senior year, so it was just a weird time. We were just all kind of going through different motions, and now look at where we are. It changed us.
I was locked up in Machuca Heights. Fucking, Montclair had the whole entire campus on lockdown because of COVID. It sucked. You couldn't leave your room without taking a damn test or some shit.
The Hawk check.
Oh, God.
Don't bring it out to Chucky. All right, 2021. Milwaukee takes down Phoenix in 6 games. Giannis wins the Finals MVP.
I was looking forward to this one.
Oh boy. Well,
I
all
hope.
right.
I hope.
Let Chucky go
you're not
first.
gonna get mad at me.
Let Chucky go first.
Despite what Maz would like you to believe, this is a very good finals. 6 games. Phoenix goes up 2-0, and everyone's like, oh, Milwaukee's on the ropes. So everyone's on the brink. And then game 3, the lob, the Drew Holiday, lay it up. Giannis slams it down. The next 3 games of Giannis dominating. The closeout game 6 where he has 50 points.
Don't forget.
Fantastic finals. Chris Paul's first finals appearance. This is a very good finals, no matter what.
Don't forget.
No matter what Matt says.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When they used to count for Giannis's free throws, but they weren't actually counting real seconds. They were just counting.
You legitimately, I'm sorry. All those things that you said were beautiful. It was the wall of Giannis and Giannis at the damn free throw line. It was boring as all hell. It's not what I expected out of that finals. I absolutely hated every moment of it. I don't even know if those teams should have been the teams that would have been in it. Everybody that wants to criticize for players being out in the bubble, this and that, that was as fair as we could make it. This year in this play, not necessarily like the final, even though I think Chris Paul might have missed like a game or two, but I think Phoenix ended up winning those games. Just in terms of like the actual playoffs, so many guys were testing positive and having to sit out, and it was just a mess, dude. I hate this finals. It's the worst finals ever. It was just shenanigans. I think this is terrible. I hate this finals more than anything, especially you want to talk about Shea being a free throw merchant. Good God, it felt like every damn possession we're counting down Giannis on whether or not he's gonna go 1 for 2 at the damn free throw line. I hated everything.
Didn't the last 2 games, didn't he go like 20 for 25 from the line or something like that in the last 2 games?
Yeah, he improved and he deserved that. But the entire game was played at the free throw line, damn it! It was like watching the Rockets with prime James Harden. Like, yeah, there were some cool moments, but most of the time, the little bastard's just chilling at the line. I can't stand it.
Hey, guess what? You just signed the big man who was supposed to guard Giannis throughout that series, and you're highly touting this guy now. This is the same guy. The same exact guy.
First off, the Valley Oop on the way to this finals, the greatest basketball play I've ever seen drawn up. All right, that's what made me fall in love with Monty Williams. Second off, DeAndre Ayton has never claimed to be a good defender. I've never claimed that he's been a good defender. The reason why I did not want him is because I thought it was going to be a giant contract, and we need some defense, but I will take a double-double guy for only $8 million a year, okay? So thank you. Keep it moving along. This is terrible. I hate it. Garbage.
I'm going to compromise.
Giannis,
I'm going to put this in
35
solid.
points per game, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and averaged 14.2 free throw attempts per game.
And we were snoozing the whole time watching it happen.
I think you're the only person that actually thought that, though. I truly believe you were.
You like that? Person. You wanted to watch him at the free throw line? You enjoyed that?
I'm a Giannis fan, dude. I like Giannis, and sometimes he can be a diva.
Never said I'm not coming at Giannis.
I appreciate his game because I don't feel like there's a lot of guys in the NBA today that want to attack the basket and want to draw contact. I mean, you could say Shea, but like, does he really go at the basket? Does he actually try to go after an and he just tries to fall away and get the foul? Giannis attacks and he plays exciting brand of basketball. Giannis plays an exciting brand of basketball. Yes, he did. Stop it.
Not that done.
I don't know what your hate is with Giannis, but it is very unwarranted.
I'm not hating on Giannis. Like, yo, good for him. He did the one thing that everybody's been, claiming that Ben Simmons should have been doing for years. He actually learned how to shoot a free throw, and good for him for making the adjustments in the finals. But that entire damn series was at the line, and it was boring. And you know what? If Kevin Durant would have had just a slightly smaller damn foot, the Bucks wouldn't even be there, and I can't stand it.
Now you're attacking my team. Now you're attacking my team in this rant.
I'm not even attacking. I'm saying you should have been there. Saying you should have been there. All right?
Don't remind me.
Everything about this.
Don't remind me.
You're never getting me to give this flowers.
Don't remind me.
Chucky, I legitimately have this as the last place on my list. That's how bad I hated the playoffs. That's how bad I hated this finals. I do not care. Do what you want, but that's my take, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm putting this in solid. I think right behind the Raptors series is good. I don't think it's the worst finals of the
Sleeping.
last 10 years. There have been worse finals.
Sleeping.
In the last 10
Definitely
years.
not. Definitely not the worst final. I think in my ranking, I had this. Let me see.
4.
I had this third.
Oh,
I think it's a
God,
little high.
Chucky's-
I think it's a little high, but
Ugh,
I think I
ridiculous.
4.
You're ridiculous too, both of you. Shenanigans. Hate it.
All right.
I knew this was gonna be the one. I freaking knew this was
20
gonna be the one. I don't co-sign this. I co-sign everything else that we've done here tonight. I do not co-sign that. Keep it moving.
2022 Celtics versus Warriors, the Jordan Poole finals. The Steph Curry's only finals MVP as well out of his 4 championships. The Warriors, I think, after the Celtics had a great game 1. I think they shot in that second half. It was like 10 of 11 from 3 to close out that series. But everyone knew it wasn't sustainable, and the Celtics just on paper weren't really going to match up with the Warriors before they got Drew Holiday and all their defensive pieces around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And that was a series, if I remember, too. No, I think it was the next year, the year where Jaylen Brown, they figured out he couldn't dribble with his left hand.
Oh no, that was the conference finals against the Heat.
That was
they
against
blew.
the next year. But yeah, no, this was a very. I'll be honest, this was not a great series. I think just the Warriors were.
Yeah.
They were just a better team than the Celtics. I would probably put this in I8, maybe even terrible.
I have this ranked 6th. Yeah,
Closer.
And I think you're mistaken. I think there was a little bit more excitement with the Celtics early on because I think they stole Game 1 in Golden State, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was in Boston.
So there was like.
No,
Are you
because
sure?
I think the Celtics had the best record, or the second best
In the
record in
NBA.
basketball that year, because the Warriors were a 3 seed in the West that season.
We can double check that. But
Chuck, you said
yeah,
that you
no,
had this 6.
Yeah, I have it 6th just because kind of with my same thought process of there's just not really a lot of like, besides the Jordan Poole game where he goes off, where he's got the baddie sitting courtside. I'm quoting the meme there where there's the Instagram edit, which was born. I think that might have created the current generation of sports edits was the Jordan Poole baddie sitting courtside. But yeah, I mean, besides, Curry going off in game 6 in the closeout, Andrew Wiggins locking up Jason Tatum throughout the series, there wasn't really any exciting moments. I mean, I think Al Horford had like one crazy game where he was unconscious from 3, but yeah, just not really a lot of
exciting?
stuff. Not a lot of really memorable and iconic moments.
You want to know what was iconic? You
Mm.
want to know what was exciting? I had this 5, Chucky. I don't think you're off. 6 is fine with me. Big Daddy Steph coming out, showing everybody I can win a Finals MVP, showing everybody I am the greatest shooter in the history of the game, showing everybody that I am a unanimous MVP for crying out loud. And all that you want to say about Kevin Durant, don't forget I got it done before he even got there. I got it done after he left. That was exciting. I loved every moment of this, all right, because Steph put a stamp on his legacy, letting everybody know he is here. That's why it's solid for me, fellas. I got it at 5.
So yeah, game 1 in Golden State, Boston wins 120 to 108. Al Horford finals career high 26 points. Yeah, everyone was pretty excited after that first game for the Celtics.
I mean, the Celtics fans were talking crazy, but there's no way you were shooting threes that efficiently ever again. I think they shot like high 50s, maybe low 60s from 3 in that first game. They were just letting it rain, but we knew.
51.2%.
What was it?
3. 51.2% from
Okay.
3.
How
Yeah,
the
it was
mighty have
something
fallen.
ridiculous.
Compare that to this
Yeah,
year against the Knicks in the playoffs.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. You want to get into a 3-point contest with the team that literally made the 3-point game legit? You're losing that every time. I loved it. Dare I say, belt to ass from Big Daddy Steph on the Celtics. I loved every moment of it, dude. I wish I could have this higher. I wish there was a little more competition going on, but it was a young pup, Celtics team. But it's middle of the pack for me, literally. I love this finals though.
So where are we putting this?
I don't like this one. I think this finals to me was kind of boring, but
I think you're outvoted here.
I'm good with solid or I.
No, let's hit it solid. Guys, do me a favor and put it over the Bucks one at least, please.
Nope.
Please, I'm begging you.
I would have much rather have watched.
I can't co-sign.
I
Yeah,
have
no.
to co-sign that. It was a more exciting finals. Even game 1 was more exciting than anything that happened in that Bucks one. 4-2. It was the same record. Like, come on, dude. Like, this was the
And
stamp.
also, the Bucks came back from down 2-0.
Oh God, yeah, playing boring basketball. At least this one had some excitement in it. Keep it moving.
We're gonna put this one in solid.
Just wrong.
Fair.
Wrong.
All right.
Should be one over.
2023 Nuggets over the 8th seeded Heat in what was it 5
This
games?
is
That
easy.
gentleman, that was the gentleman's, right?
It was the Nuggets went up 3-0. The Heat stole one in Game 4 at home, and then it was a gentleman's sweep. This was a terrible finals.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't even really think this was even the 3 games that Denver won, like to go up 3-0, weren't really competitive. Miami had one hot shooting night, and that's how they were able to steal one game at home. This was a terrible finals. Terrible.
Yeah, I agree with you, Charlie. I love Jokic, and I'm glad he got his ring, but I wish it was against a better team. I think that Heat team was awesome, the way they ran through the Eastern Conference. And the Celtics, if Jason Tatum doesn't get hurt in the opening minutes of Game 7, I think that finals, Nuggets-Celtics, would have been an absolute banger. I think that would have been a 10 out of 10. I'm kind of upset we never got that one because I think it would have been amazing for basketball.
So, can somebody just entertain me here for a second on a hypothetical?
Hmm.
Because I enjoyed that Miami Heat run so much, being an 8th seed and just taking down everybody. Where would Jimmy Butler be all time if he would have slayed the Joker?
He'd be a top 15
I remember
player
going into the series, everyone was like, "Is Jimmy Butler first take in the morning? Is Jimmy Butler top 10 all time?"
Dude, it would have been epic if he would have got that done as an 8th
Dude,
seed. But
we shouldn't take anything that is said on First Take at face value, dude. Like they were talking about Halliburton a few weeks ago being like the face of the league or something like that. Like, shut up, dude. The narrative just
they're
changes.
not the only time out. They're not the only ones though, right? Like that was a thing on the internet. Like people just. They're
face
talking
of the
points,
league.
right?
No,
and here we
nobody
are.
was saying face of the league for Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, no, people were legitimately saying that on the internet. Maybe they were trolls, whatever. Like I saw that other places before it even came out on First Take, right? Like maybe just because they beat the Knicks and like you either love the Knicks or you hate the Knicks. There's really no in between, right? So it's like that was their job is succeeding because here we are weeks later talking about a talking point from their show, right? So it's like, I hear you, Ant, but they're doing their job and they're getting ratings, and it is what it is. But, God, I really wish Jimmy would have won this finals. But yeah, fellas, I had this 8 out of 10 on this list, and 8th spot out of the 10 list. It wasn't good. It was terrible.
You really think that finals was better than the Bucks one? Are you serious right now?
Yeah, I do.
Dude,
legitimately,
that is
I was
the
enjoying
worst
Jimmy in
finals
there.
of the last 10 years.
I saw
day
Jimmy
one
steal
hater.
a game, bro, by himself, no help. That was awesome. Yeah, I do think it was better. I think it was
Jimmy
harder
actually-
fall. I think it was
no,
more well deserved. Thank you.
Didn't
Jimmy
the
had a
Nuggets...
rough.
Sorry, you go first.
Go ahead, Ant.
Didn't the Nuggets only lose like
Yeah.
2 games that entire finals run?
Yeah, they were dominant.
They were so dominant
They-
that year.
They swept the Timberwolves, or no, gentlemen swept Timberwolves first round. They gentlemen swept the Suns, swept the Lakers. So I think they lost 3 games in that run.
Crazy.
One of them was stolen by Sir
then,
Jimmy.
If I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Butler actually got hurt in the conference finals because Miami went up 3-0, and Jimmy like tweaked his ankle or something. That's kind of what kind of sparked the Celtic comeback, and then as Ant said, the Tatum injury in Game 7.
And once again, another finals. Tyler Hero absolutely nowhere to be found. The guy was outgunned, outmatched.
He was injured that whole playoff run.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because in the bubble he went down too. He didn't even play in that finals. If he did, it might have been 1 game. Like Jimmy's been to 2 finals, and his second offensive option nowhere to be found. Damn it! I still blame Pat Riley for not getting a true number 2 in there for scoring. I still blame the Heat organization for how they handled all of that. Good God, they should have went and got Dame Lillard. All right.
They wanted him, but
the asking price was too big.
Well,
Jimmy had
25,
7 and 7 in Game 4 of the finals.
Yeah, it
was the only option. Can't even blame him.
All right, we go to last year's finals. We did it finals where the Celtics took down the Mavericks in, what was it, 6 games? That one?
Yeah.
No, that was 5.
That was another gentleman's. Oh man, it
was terrible.
This finals was billed to be so much better than what it ended up being. It was just
which is why
Yeah.
It's 9 for me. It's in terrible, but it's behind that Nuggets one because it didn't live up to anything. Like, there was really no excuses. Like, you had stars on Dallas. They just didn't come out to play. I'm not expecting them to win. I'm expecting you to get more than one game, for crying out loud. I mean, Celtics just put belt to ass on them. For me, like, dude. This was terrible for me, dude. This is 9 all day.
I'm with you, Maz. I think I had this definitely in the bottom 2. I actually
and swap those.
Okay.
I had it. Actually, I had it in front of the Cavs Warriors 2017 and 2018, and the Nuggets and Heat. But the 2 things I remember is, Luka was having a meltdown, and he fouled out of Game 3. Kyrie Irving did not show up in this series, unfortunately. Boston just had him. Drew Holiday had him in a blender. And then, all the discourse was, who's going to win Finals MVP between Tatum and Brown? Like, this was not a fun Finals. This was pretty boring.
It was just... And then we had to sit there and watch every cliche moment from just having the repeat, whether it was Mike, Kobe, KG, you named
Kanye.
He did it. Steph, freaking Kanye. I mean, we copied everybody here. Good God, you couldn't think of one genuine thing off the top of your head, for crying out loud? Awful.
This is why Tatum doesn't get respect in the NBA community, because he's a cornball. And I feel bad because he's genuinely a very good player. He's a top 5 player in basketball potentially. But like, when you just pull all this corny stuff, people aren't going to respect it, dude. Come on. Show up. Be better.
You know what? What does he matter? What does he care? He's sitting there with his guaranteed contract. He'll come back in a year. He'll still remind everybody that he's a top 10 player in the damn game. Boston's going to rework their salary and come back and figure something out. He's going to be just fine. And the guy's one of the highest paid players out there. So you know what? Good for him, but good God, go hire somebody to write some material on this time off, please.
All right. Now this brings
That's a good one.
This current Finals, the OKC
Number 2.
Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. We've gone to 7 games. Only one of 2 finals in the last 10 years that have gone to 7 games. But Game 7 was shaping up to be an absolute another piece of cinema before Tyrese Halliburton went down in the second quarter. OKC was able to pull away and win by, I think it was 28 in that Game 7 to lock up their first championship in team history. I think no matter what happened, even with the injury to Halliburton in that Game 7, this was a very good finals. Potentially even a 10 out of 10. I think it just missed the 10 out of 10. It's probably like a 9.8, 9.9.
I'm with you on that. And like, hey, the Pacers were up a point in halftime in Game 7. Like, this game was not over. And then, OKC. But also, one of the things that just puts it up there for me, just like so many iconic moments. The Halliburton shot in Game 1, the Pacer comeback in Game 1. I mean, the OKC comeback in Game 4 in the fourth quarter was incredible. Shea took over like 2, 3, fourth quarters in this entire series. Just a
41.
Good time all around. J-Dub's 40-point game in Game 6, or was that Game 5? I think it's Game 5.
And then the Game 6 was back in Indiana, where the Pacers went on like a 23-4 run in the second quarter.
Yes.
And Siakam had that big poster dunk over, what is it, Chet? Or was it Lou Dort? I think it was Lou Dort.
I don't remember.
I think it was Lou Dort. But
I think it was Lou Dort.
It was a great finals. I'm gonna be honest. This was, and for everything coming into this series, everyone thought OKC was going to steamroll this Pacers team, who had just proven time and time again throughout that run that this was not going to be a team that was going to be going out like a whimper. For everything that this Indiana Pacers team did, I will always respect it, and I really wish they would have gotten the job done. But it was a great finals. I'm putting this in very good, right? I think very good.
Very good. Very good.
It could have been 10 out of 10. You know what the problem was? Because obviously we talked about Draymond being suspended and that changing the tide of things. Halliburton had terrible games in this series, and they still won one of those games, right? So, like, I know him going down deflates everybody, and nobody ever wants to see that. I was so pissed that OKC won that way, even though I was rooting OKC to win because, as we said, Indiana just made me look absolutely terrible the entire playoffs. But they could have given just a little more of an effort. I didn't expect them to win it, but to get blown out the way that they did after Halliburton went down, like, you guys literally got the job done with him being nowhere to be found in efficiency, impact in the game, what have you. Like, so the fact that they just couldn't rally a little harder is why it's not a 10 out of 10. Not that they didn't get the job done, just because I would have just wanted just a little more push out of them. But yeah, fellas, I'm with you. 9.8, 9.9. I love the series for the most part. Like, it was a fun time, and you were legitimately sitting there for the first time since that Cavs Dubs one, being like, damn, who's gonna win this? Like, it was like on the edge of the seat, like every day, like, do I switch the take? Do I jump on the Indiana bandwagon? Absolutely not. Couldn't do it. But, like, you know, people were legitimately conflicted. Some people swapped sides. Some people became Indiana fans a little bit, you know, like, hey, it happens. It happens. I fully get it because, yo, it was that competitive. It was that kind of a series. And I just really hope that we get half of what we got this year next year.
Hopefully.
All right, fellas. This was our final rankings. So we have in the 10 out of 10 tier, number 1, 2016 with Cavs Warriors. In the very good tiers, 2 and 3, we have this year's Pacers versus OKC Thunder and the Lakers versus the Heat in 2020. In the solid tier, at rank 4, we have the Raptors versus the Warriors. That was 2019. 2021 finals at number 5 in the solid tier, and Maz disagrees. That's the Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns in 6. And then at number 6 in the solid tier, we have the Celtics versus the Warriors in 2022. In the I8 tier, 2018 Cavs versus Warriors edition, and the 2017 Cavs versus Warriors edition. And in the terrible tier, shout out to Charles Barkley, we have the 2023 finals with the Joker and Murray-led Nuggets over the Miami Heat in 5, and the 2024 finals with the Celtics over the Mavericks in 5. How do we like it? How do we like this, boys? Outside of, Maz, I know what you're gonna say, but outside of everything, what do we feel?
Oh, fellas, I think we legitimately hit like a 9.2. 9.2. I'm sorry. Like, if you swap it right now, I'll give you some more points right now. Just give me the Steph over the Giannis one. But that Giannis one is terrible. It should be terrible. It should be the bottom of this list. I stand on that ground. Other than that, I think we pretty much got it right.
Finals. It wasn't terrible. Terrible is a 5-game gentleman's sweep
snooze fest,
where a team is just so much better than another team. That's a terrible one.
I would have watched a video on the history of how paint is made than go through that free throw shenanigans ever again.
You're lying to yourself, but
I'm not.
I'm not. I think this list is really good. The only thing I would change it to make it more accustomed to myself is I would knock down the 2020 finals, move up probably the 2021 finals, the Bucks championship. But other than that, yeah, I think we did a pretty good job here, fellas.
This is such a polarizing finals, man. 2021. Like, we have
it's hard for me to believe that it is so polarizing, but Maz is just a different animal. So,
any words on that?
I stand by. I am a different animal. He's not wrong. Like, I'm not offended by that. Like, that's actually a compliment.
And the same beast.
Yeah, I don't. Wow, existentialism right there, huh?
That's that fake Kobe Bryant commercial. You guys never saw that one?
I know. Yes.
What the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
But fellas, we did a decent job, I think.
I think so.
Let us know how we did. Let us know how we did down in the comments. Follow us on
Instagram. Subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Everywhere where you get your podcasts. At Maz and Bads on Instagram. At Maz and Bads on TikTok. And Charlie, you want to hit the outro?
Happy 4th of July.
Woo!
You have been listening to the Maz and Bad Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.